Hey guys, welcome to another video. So last weekend I went to a wedding and the town that I stayed in had a little bookshop, really nice little bookshop, and I was delighted to see that they had some science fiction books and they were in good condition. So I spent a good 20 minutes looking through those and a couple jumped out at me. This one here, Dreams of an Unseen Planet by Teresa Plowright. I was drawn immediately to this amazing cover. As you can see, look at this artwork. You probably recognize it already. This is by the awesome Chris Foss. You can see his name down there now. Chris Foss has done so many amazing science fiction covers. His style kind of derives from the 70s, and he was painting during that period. He painted this in the 80s, and it's that kind of fantasy style science fiction where spaceships are gigantic and they're almost like creatures. They don't seem to necessarily function, but they look beautiful. And the scale of them is one of the things that's really awe-inspiring. Scale is a thing that Chris Foss uses to his advantage, and you can see the small details on the ship really give it that sense of size. And of course, this it just looks fantastical. It's quite an amazing scene, the planet swirling in the background and distant space station over here. I was just so drawn to this cover that I had to buy it. I knew nothing of Teresa Plowright, and I'll talk about her in a minute. But Dreams of an Unseen Planet, and it kind of had an interesting storyline to it. But wanted to just dive into this cover a little bit more, because you can see across here we have the original cover published in 1986. This one here is a much quieter orbit we have here with this more traditional spaceship with a not so exciting space station in the background. Now this cover was painted by Hannah Shaperio. Now, this is the first edition cover, and you can see what they were trying to achieve with this, but it's very staid. It doesn't quite have the impact. But this went through a couple of editions until in about 1990, and you can see in here, we've got this is the 1990 edition. It was 86 original and then reprinted in 1989. So there was enough interest in the book and what the book concept had to offer. But they obviously realized that in 1990 they needed to vamp up the cover, and they obviously employed Chris Foss to do another version of this. So this ties in with the story, and this picture was obviously painted about the story, and then this one has then been created to draw in people like myself who are interested in such amazing covers. This is in really good condition as well, apart from a bit of wear down there. But didn't end there. The book has stayed in publication for a little bit longer, and roughly sort of in the 2000s, they did another cover. And this time they did an image of a woman lying in a bed, Dreams of an Unseen Planet. She's having dreams, very much about the characters. Now, this is a character-driven book. I haven't read it, but I've read a review about it, blog, and very much about characters. So this is seizing upon that, but there are kind of semi-erotic undertones to the story, which you wouldn't guess from seeing this cover here, would you? So go back to that cover, very staid. This is exciting and dramatic. And then this one here is trying to draw people in with the prospect of something a little bit saucy, potentially. So 3 covers. I don't know who did this cover, by the way. I haven't been able to find the details about that one. But it's not quite the same as these 2 in the sense that these are probably paintings that are bigger and have taken more time, whereas this one is more of a commissioned piece, a smaller piece probably. Who knows? Now that's my thoughts on it. Now, moving beyond the covers, which this one is particularly amazing, Teresa Plowright. Now, I've tried to research her and have found very little information. She's Canadian, maybe a journalist now, wrote this one book, potentially another book, Into That Good Night, but I can find no references to it as a book itself. There's a couple of things about her that say she wrote this and Into That Good Night, but I can't find anything about it. So, unsure. So I think she's more like a bit of a one-hit wonder maybe, and then moved into the writing field, maybe had a family. There are a couple of hints that she has sons and lives with her husband and sons. But I'm unsure. Now, that would have been a while ago now. So her sons are probably adults and moved on. And the name is a bit suspicious to me. Plowright. Okay, so that almost is saying I write a lot. I get dug in with it. So I suspect that this is just a pseudonym, and this may be written by another author who potentially Arbor House knew. So Arbor House published the initial book, and they may well have commissioned another writer to write this. I'm just guessing, just because there's so little information about Teresa Plowright. Because this happens a lot. Writers are often prolific, and they don't want some of their works to be released under their own name, so they will have a pseudonym. Maybe they use their first name and then they make up a second name. But lots of famous writers have done that. Lots of writers do it just because it also makes it look like the publisher has more writers in their canon. So there are lots of different reasons. So Teresa Plowright, if you're listening, drop us a message in the comments down below. It would be interesting to hear from you if you watch this. And you can set me right. Now, the book itself, let's have a look at the back here. You see the picture laps around. So this is quite a big painting. So it goes the whole width. Traditionally, that's what cover art used to be. So it goes, the color red. Light years away from Earth, the Ventura space colony circles the russet world of Gaia. Mira, a botanical worker in the colony's labs, tries to make sense out of the mysterious and sensual red dreams that haunt her nights. Dreams that pierce to the core her maturing sexuality. In the course of her researches with her counsellor, Dr. Goldstrom, and her friend Celia, Mira and the 2 other women try to give some meaning to their own increasingly threatened lives. For birth rate on Ventura colony has dropped dangerously close to 0, and the colony is faced with possible total sterility. As Dr. Goldstrom and Celia, each in their own way, explore Mira's dreams, they find deep and vibrant powers within her, powers that may even engender new life on Ventura. For Mira's dreams suggest the mysterious planet, the colony itself, is somehow alive, but that is only a dream. Teresa Plowright has written a strong and lyrical novel of tomorrow's women and men struggling to find their place in a vastly changed and changing universe. Dreams of an Unseen Planet is a wise book, a beautiful book, a book pregnant with joy and wonder, a book to set its readers dreaming. First British publication this is. So it's come across to Britain. Let's just see if there is a little bit about Teresa Plowright. Has an MA in Communications with McGill University. Dreams of an Unseen Planet is her first novel. She lives with her husband, Russell Wills, and 2 small sons on Bowen Island, British Columbia. So, and in Corfu, Greece. Okay. So there's a little bit more information about her. I had flipped through, but I hadn't spotted that little bit at the beginning there. So there is a little bit of information about her first novel and potentially her last novel. Sounds like she's living a life in Greece and British Columbia. Her husband is called Russell Wills, which gives more credence, more strength to the fact that maybe this is just her pseudonym. So maybe her real name is Teresa Wills. So there you have it. This book here, and you can see there's whispers of an erotic undercurrent in that description at the back of the book. So really interesting to look into this. It's a good length, and I'm going to give this a go, see what it's like. I did see one blog review say that it does take just a little bit to get into, but the characters are strong, and that it's well worth reading it to the end. So there you have it. I hope you found this an interesting little book report, even if I haven't read it, with Dreams of an Unseen Planet. I've got to say, this cover is just amazing, which is why I picked it up. And it's in fantastic condition. So there you go. So guys, I hope you found that interesting. If you did, click the thumbs up. If you've got any comments or know anything more about this, please put it in down below. And I'll be bringing you another video on one of the other books that I picked up at the bookshop. So thanks again, and I'll catch up with you soon.